All right, for lesson 8, we're going to be talking about angle relationships. So I'm going to quickly review 3 angle relationships you need to know for this lesson. First one here is complementary angles. So definition you should have for complementary angles are 2 angles whose measures sum to 90 degrees. It means you have 2 angles, and when you add them together, you get 90 degrees. A lot of times this will be notated because you'll have 2 angles paired up like this with the right angle symbol in the middle. An example of a pair of angles that might be 90, that would be complementary, could be this one is 60 degrees and this one is 30 degrees. I'm going to skip angles on a line because I think that one's the easiest, so we'll come back to it. Supplementary angles are angles that are 2 angles whose measures sum to 180 degrees. They might actually be attached like complementary angles, or they might be separate. An example of a pair of supplementary angles might be 120 degrees and 60 degrees. 120 plus 60 gives you 180. The way I remember complementary versus supplementary is that they go in alphabetical order. C comes before S in the alphabet, and 90 degrees is less than 180 degrees. That's how that sticks in my mind. So complementary, 90 degrees, supplementary, 180 degrees. And then we have angles on the line, which I think are very intuitive. This is 2 or more angles that create a straight angle. The sum of the measures of the angles is 180 degrees. So what you should know is that a straight angle is the same as a straight line. It is 180 degrees. And angles on a line is any number of angles that would sum to 180 degrees. They are all on a straight line. Usually you will see something like angle ABC is 180 degrees, or angle ABC is a straight angle to help indicate that. You might have something like 45 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, and 75 degrees. And if my math is right on that, 75 plus 45 is 120, plus 30 is 150, plus 30 is 180 degrees. So those are some examples. We're going to do, if you flip your paper over, on the other side, we have these 2 examples. So if we fill in the blank here, WXZ is 90 degrees. We can tell that because of this box. And it says angle WXY is what to angle YXZ? And that's going to be, of course, complementary. So that is 2 angles whose measures have a sum of 90 degrees. We're just kind of repeating what we've already done. So these are the examples you're going to have in the lesson. So we have these 2 angles are complementary. So you're going to write an equation to compare those angles. Let me zoom in. So in this case, that's going to be 30 plus x equals 90. And then in order to solve, subtract 30 from both sides, and we get x equals 60 degrees. This angle is 60 degrees. Our next one here, we have an example of HIK. It doesn't say it, but we're going to assume this is a straight angle. So that means that HIJ is supplementary to JIK. Because there's only 2, we can use the term supplementary, but these are also angles on a line. So I'm just going to add that up here. These are also angles on a line. So supplementary angles are repeating, filling in the information, 2 angles whose measures have a sum of 180 degrees. And we have an example down here. It says these 2 angles are supplementary. So in order to solve that, we're going to say 135 plus x equals 180. To start solving, of course, we're going to subtract 135 from both sides. And x is going to equal 45 degrees, right? 35. Yep, 45. So x here equals 45 degrees. And that's exactly what the lesson today is going to be. So if you haven't noticed already, we're actually on the practice for lesson 8. After you've completed this, you're going to scroll down to number 3. You're going to complete 3 through 8, skipping over number 5 here. And I've given you some information for the first few. So number 3 is angles on a line. I've given you an equation. Number 4, use the one that I've drawn, complementary angles. And number 6 are supplementary angles. Here's your equation. It says they're supplementary. And then on your own, do 7 and 8. And that's the lesson for today.